So welcome to Networking with Fish, a little bit of fun in the lab. Today we're going to do some more CyberFlood fun. So we've got the Spirent CyberFlood 100 with 4 ports on it, the appliance. Ports 3 and 4 will have on the inside of the firewall, the firepower 3110 in ASA mode in the middle there. So on the left side, we'll have ports 3 and 4. On the right side, we'll have ports 5 and 6 off of the CyberFlood, the CF100, and have some traffic go from inside to outside HTTP. And what we're going to do here is, this is ultimately what we're going to do, but let's take it one step at a time. So let's have port 3 and port 5. And I'm going to have 10.102.102.0 as the client subnet on the inside. What you'll notice, though, is that 10.102.102 does not match the inside subnet that is off of the firepower. So obviously we'll need a router in the middle there to go between 10.102.102 and 10.101.101. Same thing's going to happen on the outside of the firewall. We're going to have this outside be 201.202.202/24, which again is on a different subnet than the outside of the firewall, 201.201.201. I'm going to be referring to these, by the way, as 101 for 10.101.101 and 201 and 102 and 202. So let's go ahead and build the subnets first over here on the CyberFlood. So I'm already in the CyberFlood. I had the diagram that you saw similar. So the inside, the device under test is going to be the firewall. I'm already connected to my ports. We're going to go ahead and make the subnet. So this will be in, and then 102, and then port 3. And so this is going to be 102.102.1. And we're going to go ahead and have 250. Now, I don't have to put the default gateway here because I'm going to tie it to a virtual router. So while I'm in a different subnet than the inside of the firewall, we're going to do another construct, which is called a virtual router inside of the CyberFlood. Now, I am on a VLAN, and there is another YouTube that explains that it's a little strange when you're newer to this, that the client and server hosts, the actual end devices themselves on the firewall, on the CyberFloods, need to also have a VLAN tag, especially when they have a virtual router in the middle of it, but just roll with it. And so we're going to go ahead and have 10.102.102.1, 250, and then the MAC address 1101. And so that's good. And then we'll go ahead and save the profile. And we're going to assign that to port 3, as I said. So here we see the ports on my CF100, so okay. And then over here, we're going to make 202. So this is going to be out 202, and this is going to be on port 5. I'm just putting this here. I didn't originally think about putting this here, but I just want you to be able to see it. So, and then 250, so out 202, which is going to be 201, 202, 202.1 through 250. Again, no default gateway. Again, I do need the VLAN tag. Again, a little strange, but you know. And then this is going to go on to port 5. So, okay. So now what we have, as you can see, we have, if we hover over this, we have our inside 102, 10.102.102.1, 250 hosts, and VLAN 1101, because we need that on the CyberFlood, and then talking to 201.202. Now, again, we see, as you can see here, that those are not in the same subnet as the device under test. So we're going to make these, so we'll call this in. So this is in, and this is going to be a virtual router that is going to be for 10.102. And then I'm going to go ahead and say .3 so that I know that I'm 10.101.101.3. The VLAN does have to also be here. So this is 1101. Now I'm a virtual router, so I'm trying to act like a router. So because I'm trying to act like a router and I have the subnet 10.102.102.0 off of me, we want that traffic, it's going to come in and it's going to be trying to talk to 201.202.202. So as a router, I need a static route in here. So 201.202.202.0/24. So if traffic comes in, then I need a static route in here to go to the firewall, which is 10.101.101.1. So I need to be this device and to get to that, because this over here is 201.202.202. Now, this is going to say select ports to be routed to. So this is the ports or subnets. As I told you, the client is in 102 port 3. So we're going to say, okay, you as a virtual router are going to be tied to this inside client. So I just connected technically 10.102.102 as a subnet to this virtual router. And so we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So this is going to be out, and I believe this is out. And this is going to be the VR for 202, and we're going to make this also .3. So this is 201.201.201.3, which is going to be, again, a virtual router that is sitting off of the outside. It's going to have a VLAN, so 1201. And it's also going to need to know that if you want to get to 10.102.102.0, you're going to go to the firewall, which is 201.201.201.1. And the VLAN's there. So if we look at this, then of course select the ports. And so we are going to be, so out VR202 is going to be the virtual router that we're going to tie to subnet 202. So there we go. And let's go ahead and actually save the test and run. Now, one of the things that I do like is that when I'm running this test, we're going to go ahead and jump on the 3100. And there is one more thing that I need to show you. And that is the fact that the 3100 ASA in the middle is also running in routed mode. So I need to say, you know, if you want to go to 10.102.102.0, then you need to go to 10.101.101.3, which is the inside VR that we just created. And if you want to go outside to 201.202.202.0, then you need to go to 201.202. Now, what I love here is the fact that I can actually, when I'm troubleshooting, and things are working behind us, but I can find out whether or not I can get to the VR. And this is me pinging the CyberFlood virtual routers. But you can see from the CyberFlood perspective that I've got like 10 gig of traffic, and that's just two 10 gig ports, and everything is completely successful. So let's go ahead and stop that, because what I need actually for this test that I'm doing is I actually need more than 10 gigs. So I need more than two 10 gig ports. So what I need is not just this, which is what we just built, okay, the VR. So we have the 10.102.102.0 talking with 201.202.202.0. We have the virtual routers. Originally, what I did was I actually added two more subnets, so 10.103.103 over on port 4 and 201.203.203 over on port 6. And I originally actually tied the two inside clients to that VR and the two outside clients to that VR. What I then learned is that a virtual router on the CyberFlood exists, as of right now, May 2023, exists on one physical interface. So it was interesting, it worked, but I didn't get the stats that I wanted. So I want all the stats. So I'm going to actually create another virtual router so that 10.102, so you can see this virtual router in 102 VR, or whatever I named it over on the other thing, is for 102, and then I'm going to make another virtual router. So let's go ahead and go back over to here. The test has stopped, so let's go ahead and go over here. Okay, so let's add our other subnet on the right. I'm on the left. So for the client, it's going to be in 103. And that's going to be on port 4. This port 4 stuff is just so that you can kind of sort of piece it together in your mind more. 1, And then 250, again, no default gateway. So I'm going to add the VLAN 1101, which we have to have. It's going to be the same VLAN as the virtual router, and that is going to be on port 4. And then we will add over here. So this is going to be out 203, and this is going to be on port 6. And that's going to be 201.203.203.1, and then 250, and then go to the VLAN, and again, it has to be over here on this, and then save profile, and that's going to be on port 6. So again, as I mentioned, if we hover over, if we come here to this little crosshairs, what you'll see is when I hover over this, you can see the crosshairs here. So we have the crosshairs here, the crosshairs here. So if I hover over this, it shows me which virtual router I'm connected to. This one has no virtual router. So this one is connected to port 3. But as I mentioned, this virtual router, if the associated subnet were on port 3 also, then I could click this, but it is not. Since it's on a different port, I need a different virtual router. So let's go ahead and add the virtual router for that one. So we'll call this NVR103. So this is going to be the virtual router that we're going to then tie to 10.103. So, and then this will be .4. So this will be 10.101.101.4. And it does need a VLAN. All of these are going to need VLANs. And then again, we are a router, and so we are the router for 10.103. So 10.103 is trying to go to 203. And so if it wants to go to 203, then it needs to go to 10.101.101.1, which is the firewall. So save that profile, and then it will go ahead and say, well, who do you want to tie this to? So I want the virtual router for 103 to connect to the subnet 103. We're going to do the same thing over here. So this is going to be out, and this is going to be VR, and this is going to be for 203. And this is going to be .4. And so that is 201.201.201.4. And then VLAN, yes, still we need the VLAN. And then we still need a route, right? And so 201.203 is trying to talk to 10.103.103.0. And we have to go to the router for that, the firewall again for that as well. And the VLAN's there. Okay, so up, and then I have to connect this. And so I take this virtual router 203, and I connect it to this subnet. And there we go. And we'll go ahead and do save. And we're going to go ahead and just run this test. So what should happen is 10.102.102 is going to be talking through the virtual router for 102. And then that's going to go ahead and go to the Firepower 3110 in ASA mode. And then it's going to go out to 201.202, and they're going to have a conversation back and forth. And the same thing's going to happen for 10.103, going through its virtual firewall and its virtual router to the firewall, out, and then back and forth. So let's go ahead and just start this. So of course now I should be able to ping both firewalls, so 10.101.101.3. I should also be able to ping 10.101.101.4, and then ping 201.201.201.3. I should also be able to ping 201.201.4. There we go. I should be able to do a show con count and see that I have 302 in use. We can go ahead and do a show con. And this will actually start showing you that 201.203 is talking with on the outside is talking with 10.103.103. And then we can just go ahead and continue and see that 102 is talking to 202. And if we come over here, we can see that we have all these users, and actually we're running at a really nice bandwidth right now, about 19.61, 100% successful, just cranking right through that Firepower 3110 in ASA mode. So rocking. Our average packet size is 969, so pretty good. But that's it, and that's what we built. So we went ahead and we built this, and you saw how to do it. And remember, 1 VR per port. So again, if both of 10.102 and 10.103 had been on the same port, we could have done 1 VR, but since they were on different ports, we needed 2 VRs on both sides. And that's it. Hope you had a little bit of fun in the lab. See ya.